Hello. So I'm Karen, I'm one of the witches, and I'm just preparing for a day that I'm doing with some people tomorrow about antiviral herbs. So I've been going through my stock cupboards and having a look at what I can bring out to talk to them about. And the very first thing that I think people need to understand is that viruses aren't actually living organisms. Viruses are just these little innate, we're worried about viruses. There's nothing to worry about until they get into a host. And viruses infect many things. In fact, the very first virus that was ever found and called a virus was in a plant. It was the tobacco mosaic virus. But when we think about what goes on now, we've got coughs, colds and flus that are often viral infections. We've got things like cold sores, we've got HIV, hepatitis, loads and loads and loads of different viruses. And basically we've got an amazing plethora of herbs that can help us to strengthen our own immune systems and stop viruses taking over. I personally suffer from cold sores quite often, and my favourite herb for that is St John's wort. This is from my front garden, and I pick it in the summer when it's in full flower. The lovely St John's wort, also known as Hypericum perforatum, because when you hold up some of these leaves and look into them up into the light, you can see loads of perforations, and that's one way that you tell that this is the correct Hypericum. So I dry it and then I put it in jars that I keep in the kitchen. And one other thing I do with it is I tincture it and I make oils. So I take the herb in the summer when it's in full flower and I put it in one of these big jars and I just simply cover it with vodka. And St John's wort is a real herb of the sun, so it's great to pick it on a day that it is full sun, so all of those lovely constituents and lovely things are rushing up to feel the warmth of the sun. And I've left this in here. People ask, how long do you leave tinctures? Well, this has been in here since July and it's now December. I'm going to decant it later, but you can see the colour of this. It's very red, amazing red the vodka's turned. So what I'll do later is I'll just take out this herb, put it on my compost heap after I've squeezed it out really well, and then I'll just be left with my lovely tincture. I was in Spain earlier this year visiting my son, and I picked these suckers from the olive trees next to the house we were staying at. Olive leaf is quite famous for being a cardiotonic, really good for your heart and issues and problems with the cardiovascular system. But it's also an incredible antimicrobial and antiviral. And the olive trees, they're so hardy. I mean, they can grow in incredible conditions, sometimes just sandy soil with hardly any water at all. And you see these gnarly old beasts. But I haven't harvested olive leaf before, and I learned this year that it's not actually just the leaves from the entire tree, it's the new suckers that come out around the base that you want to get the leaves from, because these are quite new and juicy and full of all the right medicinal stuff. What other herbs have I got on the table? Elderberries. I've got loads of elder trees in the garden now, from years of going out collecting the berries, making my own jams and robs and syrups, and then, like I said, chucking the stuff on the compost heap. So they've self-seeded around the garden, and there's lots of different preparations you can make from the elder. You've got the elder flowers that are out in the spring that are so drying, they're really astringent. Remember we talked about the raspberry leaf in a previous podcast video thing? These are so astringent, they're brilliant when you get snotty and mucousy because of infections, to help dry it all up. And the berries have got really strong immune boosting potential, and they also have a specific antiviral action. When you think about viruses come into our bodies and they're like these little packets of DNA or RNA, and they get into our own cells and they trick our cells, they multiply within our cells, and they either burst out of the cell or they divide within the cell, just making more and more viral cells. And some idea of the science behind why elderberries are antiviral is that, this is the way I understand it, is that particular viruses have got like sharp spiky points all the way around them, and constituent, a compound within the elder actually sits on that spiky bit, which stops it from getting into our cells. And I really like that image. And when I drink the elderberry rob, I make it into a lovely syrup. And when I drink that, I'm imagining it coating everywhere in my body and not letting any viruses into my cells to replicate. We've got some lemon balm over here. Lovely, delicious, lemony scented Melissa. But again, this one came from the front and back gardens. And lots of people have had a go at using this for herpes, cold sore viruses. Again, the mechanism of how it works as an antiviral isn't fully understood, but the theories are that it stops the virus from replicating so fast. And there have been quite a lot of trials with lemon balm specifically for cold sores showing that it's got really good results. I like the taste of lemon balm as well, but for me, interestingly, if I drink too much lemon balm, I get a goiter. So I always watch it. Goiter's when around my thyroid, it swells. So I don't do too much. I don't do too much consecutively on the trot, and I'm always aware with the lemon balm and people who have got thyroid issues. I think we'll wrap it up there. But I'm Karen and I work with Fee, she's the other one of us wild and wicked witches, and we're from Sensory Solutions. And our main goal, our aim, is to educate people, to let you know that we've got this medicine cabinet, this chest all around us, and through reconnecting and understanding about these plants, we can totally change the world and make it a brilliant, wonderful place.